Well, look at all of you. Aren't you looking fabulous this evening? Almost as fabulous, Orcs and I, but, you know, we're great. And we have got ourselves a banger game coming up. But a reminder, before we start talking about that, remember, it's the LEC finals this weekend, and you want to be tuning in or heading to Malmo. Do one or the other, because it looks utterly fantastic. I know I'm excited. I suspect Orcs is as well.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like we've had some banger finals, like globally, but LEC always sets up to be such a huge one, so I'm going to be there watching from home. And if you're lucky enough to be in Malmo, then I'm very jealous. But yes, should be a big one. And we got a big game coming up as well. Because people will easily look at this game and think, you know, both these teams are out, no stakes. You never want to go winless at EU Masters. That is such a sad way to go out of the tournament. So I have no doubt that this will be a tooth and nail fight to try and get Valiance that one win.
And they will be trying as hard as they can. You know, the likes of ArcaneTeddy, again, was in NLC Div 2 last bit, was in the UKEL, which is Tier 3 UK, which is a subsection of the NLC, not even the whole region, the year before. And, you know, like, some of these players have been trying so hard for so long. The EBL in general has always been looking to find an inroad into the main stage at EU Masters, and they've got an opportunity here to at least come away with the one win, whereas SK Prime, you know, they are part of the Prime League, once one of the most dominant regions in the whole of the Amazon European Masters. It's been a bit of a struggle for the Prime League this tournament. You know, Unicorns of Love with Standard, who have looked phenomenal. SK Prime, Schalke 04 had a rough time of it, and this would be a good time to at least prove that they are this step above the EBL, they're step above Valiance. They will not go down without a fight.
I mean, even for SK Prime, right? They came in off a really strong regular season, got 3-0'd again, out. And obviously they did make it to EU Masters and had a good run in the play-ins, but it's not been the performance that we expected that they wanted coming out of the regular season. So still looking just to try and at least fix up their score here. They go for that early Renekton pick. We've definitely seen a lot of prio in across regions. Now for Valiance to try and see what they want to match. We've seen Enchanters banned out pretty heavily with the Seraphine and the Yuumi gone. It looks like they're still hovering some options they might lean towards.
Of course, with the weight of these games being more down to pride than standings, we might end up in a situation where we end up with some slightly spicier drafts as both teams decide to throw one final hurrah out as well. But right now, looking like the Wukong being locked in, and that's a pretty standard pick going towards King in the jungle.
Yeah, so take the Wukong, and I feel like you want to lock in part of your bot lane here. You could go towards the Lulu, pair that up on your third pick with a Zeri or a Sivir. Both are available if you wanted to, but it looks like their focal point will really be on their top side and taking the Aatrox into the Renekton. So wanted to make sure there is a good top lane matchup for ArcaneTeddy.
The Nidalee's being hovered here, and Renekton Nidalee is an old school combo. You know, not quite as old school as Renekton Elise, but it's still that kind of similar thing. And it's been hovered for quite a long time here, Orcs. You know, you begin to wonder whether, you know, with this being a final game, whether this is the time for jungle to start flanking.
I would respect it, but I feel like they might go in a different direction. We'll see if they actually lock it in, though.
It's the timer's up. Of course, still a little bit delayed, and it is locked in. All right.
Definitely coming through. So this combo, we have the point and click CC of the Renekton with that power of landing the spear, kind of guarantees it. Follow up with the burst damage, and I feel like ArcaneTeddy's brought out the Aatrox here, wanting to have some strength in the laning phase. You're not going to have a fun time if SK Prime get their way.
Absolutely not. And again, there has been a lot of pressure towards ArcaneTeddy over the last few games, and often, you know, King's not been around or round too late, or some of those dives have gone a bit wrong, and they'll back up that topside focus with the ability to throw a railgun from downtown. Does open up some unusual bot side pairings as well, because Senna often paired with unusual supports when you have the opportunity.
Yeah, and I feel like particularly with Seraphine banned, Tom will probably get banned in the second rotation of bans. We're definitely going to see a push away from the typical that we get paired with the Senna, I would expect. Valiance go for the Kalista, though. Confident in this, especially because, you know, Senna Tom as a combo can obviously withstand some of the engage pressure from the supports paired with Kalista, but it's a no-brainer. They're going to ban that away, and now the pool gets thin. So maybe SK Prime start to put some bans towards supports. Maybe things like the Nautilus, maybe the Renata as well is a particularly potent combo with the Kalista would make sense here. The Amumu, another with really strong engage.
I remember a long time ago, you used to run, was it Glacial on Senna to get the slows? Is that something you could do again into the Kalista to try and knock out her martial poise attacks, or is it just not a good thing anymore?
Not really, because the problem is, like, Glacial now, you need the hard CC, the way it's changed.
Yeah, no,
but also, like,
yeah.
they just, the reason we didn't see it anymore was just because they put the slow on a Q. That's one of the reasons Senna came in the meta. Right. They just baked it into a kit, which obviously was a pretty big power boost. So.
It was.
Yeah, we see Swain, by the way, which is actually a pretty cool combo. You can go the Swain Senna in the bot lane. So Valiance definitely aware of some potential combos that could come through and thin them out. But just to see if SK Prime do go for like the Nautilus here, or if they do go towards the Renekton in this situation. And also, I'm just excited to see what they have to pair up with Gadget, because something you mentioned before was like having brought out the Heimerdinger in the past, that can be paired with the Senna to pretty potent effect.
Good as well. I'm glad you reminded me of that, because that is a very real possibility, and they are a little shy on the AP damage. Of course, Nidalee will provide a fair amount of burst, but falls off a little bit, and you're often quite skill shot reliant, which when you end up hitting those points where spears get a bit dodged a bit more easily, becomes a lot harder to do. Nautilus is being hovered here for CHECKFIDER, and it will be locked in. So they're going to have the all-in combo that adds more CC to Nautilus, whose kit is, in fact, entirely CC. So that's the way to try and potentially deal with the Senna, who can sometimes be a little hard to lock down.
Yeah, so I think for SK Prime, they need to find some sort of way where they're going to be able to prevent getting engaged on easily and try and disrupt Valiance's bot lane from really posing pressure. So I feel like, you know, Heimer works in that regard because you can put the turrets down to dodge the hooks, but looks like they are going to commit to the Sett pick. Now, this could be paired with the Senna in the bot lane, and I expect that's where they'll go. Obviously, you know, if Kalista's going aggressive, you can alter point and click CC fantastic against her. You can also really disrupt the Nautilus. It's going to be pretty hard for him. And I guess we'll see what SK Prime want to take to round out the composition.
I'm really hoping these aren't just hovers. I'm really hoping they're not, and we end up with, like, just... It's locked in! Yes, SK Prime!
Yeah, so Alois, a bit of a Riven connoisseur, a bit of a Riven main, so I expect we'll probably see the Renekton flex to the mid lane, and then this Riven coming out for him. So look, right, let's be realistic. SK Prime aren't in the tournament anymore, and it looks like they've kind of been given free reign to bring out what they want to play, and definitely some comfort in this regard.
The gloves are off and the pajamas are on instead. It's full comfort right now for SK Prime with a little bit of flair. We've got ourselves three nominally top lane champions locked in for support, mid, and top lane. The LeBlanc for Diva to round out. Valiance have gone for a bit more of a standard comp. SK Prime, well, you can see it for yourselves.
Yeah, I mean, there's a lot of dive threat on this composition. Decent amount of sustain as well. Yeah, a lot of stuff for Nidalee. That's the thing. 3 lanes with stuns that are pretty easy connect on. So this is a game for Eckas to really flex his muscles, try and push ahead. But on the other side, Valiance, right, you have this Kalista Nautilus in the bot lane. That's obviously a very potent 2v2. You've got Wukong, LeBlanc, who are both difficult to pin down, but very mobile and can find their ways into fights. So, you know, I think they have decent picks all in all to match up with what SK Prime have, but I'm just ready for this to be an absolute bloodbath. I'm hoping we have like 20 kills by 10 minutes in this game, and it's just non-stop action.
Somewhere out there, Draven is grinding his axes because this is looking like a Colosseum deathmatch, courtesy of the best Noxus has to offer us. And what a way for these two teams to go out as well. There is gonna be so much blood.
This is what you want, right? This is what you want when you come to these games where both teams are out. You just want absolutely pedal to the metal action. And it looks like SK Prime got a little bit of a plan to start things off early.
They're all color coordinated. They've literally color coordinated their skins. That's
beautiful. Yo, that's synergy. You don't see that every day.
No, you do not. I am well impressed. Well done, SK Prime. Oh no. Don't live up to your namesake. Do not face check that bush. Wisely walks away, does the Nautilus.
Yeah, unfortunately. I mean, he's aware of it, but they're still looking. They want
going.
This. Ooh, yeah, I mean, why not?
Just goes wide. I know exactly. They know what they want, and they've got a lot of very scary level 1 champions. Recall's coming through, and they will finally get out. Second javelin toss goes wide. Paladin quick enough with his mouse clicks to get on out of danger there. That is triple conquer and double fleet versus another double conquer and a little bit more standard on the other side.
Yeah, they also have triple Doran shield as well on the side of SK Prime.
I wonder why.
Yeah, interesting, that one. So a lot of sustain on the side of SK Prime, and I'm just looking for how they play around their lane set it up. But it looks like they are not relenting. They are like so set on this invade. If at first you fail, then keep brute forcing it until it works, I guess.
I mean, they've got the champions to do it. There are wards in this bush, so they'll know it's happening. And of course, King is on the other side of the map. Now the question becomes whether he's happy to have the buffs traded or whether he'll look to cross map here.
Yeah, I mean, I feel like I would probably try and find the angle for the cross map, but the problem is because ArcaneTeddy gave a leash, he's late to lane, right? So there's going to be pressure in favor of Alois on the top side. Mid, obviously, having the Renekton into a range champion does mean that Diva should just build the pressure out early. But if Phantomles gets a chance just to, you know, use his Q on the whole wave, that can really allow you to contest prio early on. So we'll see if the window is given, but Nidalee tends to be one of those junglers you don't really want to run into in the early levels.
Yeah, she gets more skills than you do and can chase you further and dance over walls a lot easier. And yes, Wukong has some ability to do the same, but you just don't quite have the same ability to choose whether you're going all in. The range discrepancy can be really obnoxious, especially with the red buff. I mean, that was why Elise was so strong for so long, is you could just come in and auto for the red buff slow and then go all in afterwards if you wanted to. And I think King wisely decides, maybe I don't want to go for this invade with where my lanes are at right now, as did see a little bit of a pullback there from Gadget. He throws down a haymaker afterwards, but the turnaround engage now that's down from CHECKFIDER could be pretty dangerous. Seal gonna have to get the heal out, and the Rend comes to boot afterwards, and Paladin definitely throwing out some damage in the early games as it overcomes King for maybe a lane gank.
Yeah, really solid play from the Valiance bot lane. Oh, look at
another
one.
Speaking of bloodbaths, we're going to try and turn this one around. Actually going to find the last embrace. Now the turnaround damage is pretty good. Haymaker take CHECKFIDER down to about 50 HP, if that. Flash away now from Gadget, but Eckas over the side looking to come in. Has got flash, has got a javelin toss, throws it in. Flash out from CHECKFIDER, stays alive. And the bloodbath commences. No one's dead, but the health bars are so damn low. Another javelin toss, and Paladin left out to drive flashes away. Marshall points where he can, looking for the lunges of the sweep. The Nidalee's down, first blood. Paladin still alive, start to turn it around. It's already 2 for the Kalista, making a triple. No! King will stop it. The big light Phantomles flashes off the Diva, gets the solo kill. Are you not entertained?
This is absolute madness right now. I just want to bask in it. Honestly, I feel like analysis be damned. This is exactly what we wanted out of this game. And Valiance, they come out ahead in the bot lane, but Phantomles decides to go for the 10 HP all in turnaround, and he finds it. So just. Oh, I'm ready for the replays. That was just great. That was everything I needed.
I am so pleased to have witnessed that. So, do you want to attempt to break that down? Are you happy to leave it?
You know what?
Yeah.
We'll if there's a replay, come and wait for that. The problem is, I feel like this is going to be such an action-packed game. You might not even get a replay.
No, I don't think we will. Already 3 assists, and the reset into room top is so good from CHECKFIDER. Flash out from Alois to keep himself alive. And here's that replay. Brace yourselves, ladies and gents. This one's going to be a fun one.
Yeah, and I feel like Valiance, they see the angle, right, to go on a Gadget. They have the jungler there. They have the backup. This is kind of the power of the set, right? If you engage onto him, he has that face breaker. He can do so much damage. Nearly kills the Nautilus there. And that sets up Eckas to come in here. He's been really on point with his spears. The first one would have hit if not for the flash. And then he manages to connect the second one as well on the Paladin. And I thought at this point, right, that's him dead. Probably CHECKFIDER as well. But the turnaround, the CC lock, the shield. And then Seal flashes forwards, but you're in melee range for Wukong. And that ends up being a disaster as well. And look, we have more action about to come through.
Here we go again. My voice is warmed up, and so are the teams. Valiance hopping in. Diva looking to get the kill. Does so onto Gadget, who's taken out. But Phantom is doing what he can. Our observer's getting just as excited as we are. And Phantom is about to be taken down. Paladin on a killing spree.
Oh, finding all the kills on the Kalista. This was the confidence to go for this pick for Valiance, for Paladin, and it is rewarding them heavily. First Drake can be picked up as well very early on at 5.5 minutes, but you get the couple of kills, you get this in, and 9% attack speed, 9 ability haste. Definitely a big asset to get for the Kalista early on, who is already snowballing so hard.
Question, Orcs. Do you know what Valiance means?
You know, roughly, but not the specific definition.
Because it's basically this. It's great courage or determination, as they certainly have been proving it in this game. The hook pulls the haymaker forward. And honestly, this was another bloodbath.
Yeah, and I mean, this is with the composition where SK Prime, we thought they would be the ones setting the pace, trying to find the fights, and they are trying to find the fights. That is absolutely true, but they are being challenged, and now CHECKFIDER is pretty low on HP, so has to be careful. But both junglers decide they want more action. With 6 minutes in the game, 7 kills, so we are kind of at a decent level of hitting the quota.
It's not done yet. Diva's here. Might look for a dive, but the wave not in a fantastic position. Might still look for the attempt to all in here. It's got the boot. So much damage on the seal. Ignite. Surely it's enough.
It's gone.
Kill for Diva.
Oh, really nice pickup. Has the confidence to go for that play. The thing with the Senna is level 4 still feels so squishy. Don't have that much health in general, and Diva just comes in, lands what he needs, gets it. Now Gadget might look for the kill here.
Paladin needs to be a little bit afraid, but does have enough of a turnaround there, and there's no ignite or anything on the set. 5 seconds was Seal's HP health summoner spell. Heal summoner spell. Finally found the right term for that. Coming off cooldown as
there's a croc in that bush.
Is not in a swamp. He's in a bush. And backs on out, deciding I don't want a 2v1.
Yeah, he was like a 1v1. I'm ready for it. I'm just hiding in this bush, waiting for whoever comes by. Isn't able to find it. But still, Eckas has been spotted on our ward, though. And we're just seeing this Nautilus roam around pretty much anywhere on the map at this point.
I mean, can you imagine just walking? Tell me, what have you got for me?
There's a wave being crashed in bot lane, and Valiance just don't care. Look, they have their Kalista coming mid. It's like, do we pick up waves, you know, get gold, get XP? No, we fight. That is like the main focus.
Yes.
Yeah.
This is how we win. We want Herald with our very strong Kalista. We will play for objectives. Phantomles, though, might look to punish, but the turnaround is so strong. My days. Somebody's coming to the Renekton. The turnaround stun. Not quite enough, and they'll get on out for now. Diva on a killing spree to boot. And I don't know what.
This is honestly. Amazing. I mean, I feel like maybe Phantomles just didn't expect, like, everyone to be there. Maybe thought maybe the focus would be on, you know, other areas of the map, but kind of lean into the A-Ram a little bit here. But now, King's gonna be able to pick up the Herald, so an opportunity to snowball this game even more. We do see Eckas invading on this bot side of the map, so see if they try and lean some pressure on a Diva, or if they're just gonna be happy with those camps.
Oh, you'd think, having just camped in a bush himself, that he'd understand that people could in fact be doing the same. But no, Phantomles...
Out of sight, out of mind, right?
Exactly. I mean, in fairness, I would like to think that, you know, crocodiles in a bush are out of my mind. I don't want to live with that kind of paranoia in my life, so...
Yeah, I mean, there'll be a lot of pressure.
Yeah,
there'll be a lot of pressure. Every time you walk into a little bit of grass, you're just concerned there might be a crocodile there.
It sounds like some really, like, grimdark version of Pokemon.
Honestly.
That's exactly it. It's hysterics talked about, like, you know, like, oh, this all the time. Like, yeah, this one time I walked into a crocodile as I'm, like, trying to just go to work or whatever. As in bot side, we got ourselves a dive, so never mind our musings on Australian lifestyle. Finally get a shut down. That goes into X back pocket. Here come the rest of Valiance trying to turn this one around. Seal inside his black mist, trying to flash away. Ooh. But will get dredge lined and dragged under. Now Diva coming over, trying to place one out as Eckas can hop over the wall, but there's still a route onto Gadget, who is trying to do his best to stay alive. Diva won't hop over the wall quite yet. A little bit afraid of getting pulled back. Now hops over, waiting for those cooldowns. Sigil of Malice on Gadget. Here comes King. Comes over. Good face breaker does some time. Phantomles is the one who gets rooted. Eckas gets the kill with the javelin toss. And now Valiance need to get on out of there. How on earth did SK Prime get away with that?
Yeah, managed to buy enough time, turn it around. And this is the thing, the cooldowns for champions like Renekton, for champions like Sett, so important. You dive in a meta range and they will punish, but once again we get another little bit of a chaotic passage of play. Paladin walks over the trap, and then that gives confidence for SK Prime to go for the play. He gets taken out, but fortunately they end up in this uncomfortable position where they are under a tower, and there's a Wukong there to try and make things a bit more painful.
Seal gets pulled out of his Curse of Black Mist there, and honestly I thought as Diva came over with the amount of kills he had, there should have been just so many kills. But they can't quite lock down any of them, and then the turnaround from Eckas and Phantomles is pretty brutal. It is a Renekton Nidalee combo.
Yeah, and I mean, particularly the fact that you have both those point-and-click stuns, we're talking about setup, you have them both here, and then the Nidalee connects with that spear. So well played, and suddenly, you know, Diva out of mana, CHECKFIDER running out of health, you realize you can't continue this play.
Yeah, they really can't, and the game is actually pretty close. It's 500 gold apart despite the early leads that did go the way of the likes of Paladin, who is up about 1,500 gold, but big lead in the jungle from the Nidalee, who's been able to farm very, very hard early on. Of course, the Senna a little bit ahead of her opposition as well, which is obviously supports doesn't matter as much, but this is still a Senna, and we know what happens when Senna gets Sennas get the opportunity to free scale, as I finally find the right conjugation of that sentence.
I feel like
Dragon though goes away Valiance.
Yeah, chaos of all the fighting. I think King has just not really had his mindset on farming. I don't know Nidalee's going to outclear, but like that is a pretty stark difference in terms of
yes.
CS.
You know, that is quite a lot. I mean, he gets the Night Harvester nice and early, and then, yes, you got the 2 dragons, and, you know, Wukong did get his clear nerfed and all those other things that have made him a little less S tier, even if he's still very much in the meta. Can Eckas do a lot with the lead? We've seen Nidalee's failed it up before, but a failed dredge line might do exactly that. Flash for the double face breaker into the show. So I'm going to drag Paladin back. He now needs to start hopping away. Fate sealed. So he's to turn it around. The Cyclone afterwards is not going to be enough as Paladin falls. Now the rundown can commence. King will have a second charge to the Cyclone, but he's slowed down by the piercing darkness. Gadget looking for a knuckle down. Pulls it back. In the mid lane, we've got another fight. Phantomles. Flash! Stun! The Ruthless Better, not quite enough. The Column not either. For Diva. He's got the wrong way! That's the clone, man! Now he's in trouble. Oh, my day distortion. So he's got no mana. He can't do it, but he's got a full charge on the Rage Bar. Can he find the kill? Look at Eckas behind. He wants the sniper down. It's an ICBM. Not even gonna bother looking for the autos instead. Baits out the distortion. Can't quite find the kill. The red buff. No, he doesn't get to walk away from that. Not like that. No.
So close. I feel like everyone has such low HP, and now ArcaneTeddy looking for this Nidalee.
It's not done. Eckas is in trouble with ArcaneTeddy. Well, then to pop. There's a blast cone, so he should be able to get outside. Primal Surge buys him time. Alois looking to find some time to get over. Blast cone will send them both to safety.
I feel like we've been scammed here, right? We were promised death, and we've had a lot, but a few people having some close brushes with it and managing to get away. Now, Phantomles a little bit overextended, maybe, but we'll just be able to wriggle away from that one.
Grim Reaper's going to have to pay for overtime, I think, today, because there's definitely been some brushes near with death. There's Alois taken pretty damn low, but does have a shield. Able to get out there for now. Broken Wings not popped as yet. Still got themselves the charge in the mid lane, which gives some goal over to Valiance. And the game still remains very close, with the discrepancy mainly being in those dragons.
I just find it perplexing that we have Riven in the game. Alois is Riven as well, and it's the least interesting part right now. Fight
does
breaking
feel like a Gadget taken solo. Haymaker buys space. Alois on the backside. 4-man stun. That'll do it. The keys burst. Gets the stun, but it's still not enough to turn it around as Diva finds a kill. Now Phantomles in danger, getting healed up. Still not enough. And Valiance as a 5-man unit are so scary, but the health bars are pretty low. You can still find more damage over the wall. Oh my god! Blast code number 2 gets away from ArcaneTeddy. He is cursing those plants in the jungle right now.
Man, that Seal looked to be in a really rough spot for a second there. Able to dip away though, but once more we get this pretty aggressive push in, and I think unfortunately Alois, it looks like a good angle, looks like a good play, but they just aren't able to connect onto the right targets. Initially though, you know, Valiance focusing onto Gadget isn't the ideal, but here Alois comes in, gets the ult out, but only the Nautilus is low, and with the stopwatch he's able to survive. Then this Renekton kind of just bullied and picked apart in this situation, and when the initial play doesn't work, there's no more momentum for SK Prime.
Not this time around. Game still remains pretty close, but again, you are still starting to see some discrepancies being built up in the likes of that Kalista, in the likes of the LeBlanc, and they are the real carries for Valiance, and they're feeling pretty happy about that. ArcaneTeddy now at the Eclipse as well, and that's a lot of squishy well, some squishy members. I just realized there's still, you know, the Renekton and the Sett who are a little less squishy, which the Aatrox may have a little more difficulty with, but right now, still feeling like anyone's game, and that's kind of the way we want it with a craft like this.
Yeah, I mean, that is exactly what we want. Gold's still super even. We see SK Prime able to pick up that tower on the bot side, but unfortunately we'll see a trade-off for the Herald here. And with Dragon in a minute, I think that's a game plan for Valiance, right? Use the Herald to get pressure mid. And speaking of pressure, Alois in trouble.
Alois doing what he can. Will get double chained. The ethereality of him feeling a little bit too physical for him this time around, and Diva goes unstoppable.
Yeah, the spear's doing a lot of damage, as you can see, but it just feels like the follow-up is there for Valiance in this situation. Now, you see them with the Herald in pocket. I expect the play is going to be open up mid, pop the Herald down, take that tier 1, and then lean into the Dragon. If they can get a third Dragon this early in the game, would be pretty worrying for SK Prime's chances in this one.
Absolutely. It's been close so far, as we've said, but a lot of these skirmishes in recent minutes have been pretty Valiance favored, and of course they have got themselves to that Drake point, that Drake soul point, if they can secure this next dragon. And the question becomes whether SK Prime are going to want to come and fight for it. Everyone's kind of over there and they've got the wards down, so my impression is yes, they are.
Yeah, look at that angle in. We do see Gadget actually on a bit of a flank. They've actually set a pretty decent vision over here, so maybe this is the play, right? Get the set on the back line, set press R, and that could be the angle of approach for SK Prime, because down 1,500 gold and not really wanting to go down 3 dragons as well.
Eckas no longer has the vision control he wanted to throw these javelins out, but still throwing a few out. Gets Ging. It's a fairly decent jump, but you'll need a few more of those if you can help it. And the accuracy's been pretty good. The fancy feet have been better so far for Valiance, as mid lane control being fought over, and Dragon just started up by Valiance. Gadget's still on that flank.
Look at him. He's just driving in this brush, waiting for his moment, waiting for his opportunity, and Paladin's there.
It's looking like one of those fights, finding another big knocker. Steal the back end, throws down the railgun. It's not quite enough. Paladin starts off the account for Valiance, for the fight commencing. Still doing what they can, then have to run away. ArcaneTeddy with the world ender popping. Will have no more to find. 2 kills for Valiant, and despite Gadget's heroic flank, it's just not enough.
Oh, and I got a feel for Gadget there. The patience he displayed, the affinity for sitting in the brush for as long as possible. But it doesn't pay off. The problem is here, right? Good ult to slam the Kalista in, but Paladin has flash, and unfortunately, you just end up clumped up against Aatrox, and yeah, ArcaneTeddy kind of vibing on this one.
He just gets to get a little bit more kill involved. The top laners haven't had that much to say about this game, but now that these big fights are starting to come through, they are more than willing to sit there and brawl, and the brawls are very much Valiant's favorite, as we've been seeing. They get a turret, and the gold lead now beginning to come through for them.
That's gonna get pretty problematic, because ultimately, Mountain Soul against the Nidalee, like, you throw a spear, you break the shield, you know, it kind of really hampers down on what you want to do. So SK Prime need to find an angle back into this game. Right now, they're looking for the Aatrox, and you can see members swarming up. They want to kill this Darkin.
There's the looking for Valor into the third part of Broken Wings. ArcaneTeddy left out to dry. Gadget gets that one as he breaks his face.
Yeah, pretty simple on that play. Absolutely just breaks his face, and now looking for this tower in the top lane. No real response to come out from the Alliance in this situation, so should just be a pretty easy pickup. But it's good to see SK Prime trying to find these angles in, although Diva is waiting, and this LeBlanc has a lot of burst, so if Eckas flies over, could be in trouble.
I think he did just get tagged with the spear there from Eckas, who was a little bit nervous that Diva might be doing exactly that, and wisely so. A little bit of game sense allows that to not occur, but Paladin will roam with the sport and get a red buff still.
Yeah, Paladin's happy. Top laner died. He doesn't really care, but he gets a red buff, so
that's a win in his book. ArcaneTeddy or red buff. I'll take the red buff every day.
I mean, every AD carry would. We know how they function.
You're a support mate, so you would know better than most. Like,
yeah, it's just how it is, right? AD carries, they are very selfish players, and if you disagree with that, then you are probably an AD carry player.
Spoken like a true bitter support. What have they done to you?
Dude, it's the moment when, like, you're trying to clear a ward, right? And it's gonna give you some gold. You're like, oh, I'm about to hit my item, and they'll just sit there and wait. And they'll just wait and steal it with the auto, and they always do.
I hate to do this to you, but you do know you get gold if someone clears a ward under your sweeper.
Yeah, but if it's like a control ward, you know.
Okay, fine. Sorry, I thought we were just talking about like the way sweepers were. Okay, fine.
No.
That's fair. Okay, now I'm there with you.
Control wards.
Okay.
I have to invest my hard-earned money into our team's control wards. I should be rewarded for this.
Yes, this is my gold. You don't get to take this from me. Flash dredge line though. I mean, CHECKFIDER might be in danger, but he gets pulled straight back up with a fate call. I apologize. There is no Yoni in this game. The Gadget is pulling them back though with the showstopper haymaker afterwards. He's ArcaneTeddy out to dry. One back, and it's 2 for 1 already in favor of SK Prime. This time they win out on this one. Diva's not there, and that makes all the difference here. It's a 5v4 that SK Prime win out on.
Yeah, SK Prime fighting the fight, and ultimately, I think Paladin maybe pressed the ultimate a bit too soon, because pulling the Nautilus out again, the intention was to kill Seal and kind of interrupt the CC chain, unfortunately. So, a good fight for SK Prime, but no real objective they can capitalize on with it. We can see it come out here, so Nautilus goes for the dredge line, gets the ult, and I don't think he got the auto off. He didn't get the root. So the follow-up doesn't come in as a result. So it's some unfortunate timing. And then in this AoE mix, where normally we see the Aatrox thrive, we get the Renekton and the Sett really doing a lot of work.
Absolutely. And I feel that was a real misunderstanding of what sea creatures are from CHECKFIDER. You know, he's a diver. You'd think he'd understand that seals are pretty at home underwater, but he drags them under with a dredge line, and you know, that was clearly a mistake.
Yeah, I find it so hilarious as the way, like, CHECKFIDER was like going for the final auto, and you just see him get like dragged away from it.
No, not like this! He's out of oxygen. Has to go back to the surface.
Yeah, time's up, and now time is potentially up for SK Prime because they need to contest this final dragon. 45 seconds, and a lot of summoners come up available. If you take note, SK Prime have pretty much every summoner going to be on the board, whereas for Valiance, they are lacking the Aatroxes and the Nautilus. So a bit of an edge there, but it's still a goal lead over to the side of Valiance right now. We can see SK Prime trying to posture. They can land some, as I was about to say, land some poke. It'll definitely be a positive for them on this one.
They seem to be reading your mind this game, Orcs. Like, I need to land some poke. There you go. That's a good start. Of course, we'll need a little bit more than that. And the vision control very much in favor of Valiance right now. You can see Gadget just hovering around looking for another one of those very extended flanks. He was in that bush the last time for a very, very long moment. Diva hops over the wall and gets a massive chunk onto Eckas alongside the Ignite. Flashing! Forces a stopwatch before the dragon spawns. That's a huge deal. Of course, has Primal Surge, but a heal his way back up. But Gadget's on that flank. He's in the same bush!
He just knows what he needs to do. He knows his role, right? And his role is to be in this brush.
Here we go. Showstoppers available. We'll look for a face break. Hasn't used it yet. Haymaker afterwards. There's a face called Terran. Diva shuts down Eckas. And the fight commences, and the frag just does not work. Perhaps he should live up to his cartoon namesake and inspect the flanks a little better. Dies, Seal flashes over into the Raptor pit. We'll get out for safety. But it is still a 4-for-1 plus soul in favor of Valiance.
Fool me once, shame on you. Fool me twice, shame on you. Shame on me, sorry. And they will
what
not
did I
be
do to earn
twice.
this shame? Just start shaming me on broadcast
just
like
double
this.
shame. But Gadget goes for the angle, and I just love the fact that instantly the response comes in. They stop him from being able to get onto the Kalista, and he never really gets close after that. Has to go for the Aatrox, but that doesn't really achieve much. And the turn around is swift. So now we see them able to head straight over the Baron. Soul in pocket. And this feels like everything they need. They have the recipe completed to get their first win on the board of the tournament. They just need to close it out from here.
They're in a great position to do so. 6,000 gold lead, Soul, now Baron. And a comp that probably scales better, though. In all honesty, it's been a long time since I've seen the champs SK Prime have drafted all together in one unit. But at least on paper.
You know, Senna does scale infinitely.
That's true. She's got Eclipse and Upper Glaive, so she's got some lethality, maybe.
Maybe a seal gets 1,000 souls, right? This, you know, you could just auto-attack.
How many souls does he have?
I don't know, but I would be interested to see. There's a lot of fighting, right? I know there's a lot of fighting. It is beneficial to getting souls, right? But he's also done a lot of dying, too. Well, SK Prime have in general, so, you know, pros and cons.
Yeah, it does feel that way. Some pros, some cons, some good, some bad. And we'll check in the next time Seal's hovered over as to how many souls he's got in. But as of now, it's still, we're still in dark.
I think it's at least like 7, at least.
At least 7. I think that's a pretty strong bet. I was going to say about at least 6, but I'm glad you overestimated.
I'm going bold on this one. So, need to start trying to apply some pressure. You can see them moving up the Aatrox to the top lane and trying to lean in on this mid tier 2, which, if I know anything from what I've seen so far in this game, they will probably attempt to dive, but fortunately for SK Prime, it does die before they are given the window.
Eckas and Gadget looking to maybe get a hook or a pullback onto somebody, but CHECKFIDER has got himself a Dredge Sign. Spider-Man's his way out to safety, and again, had Paladin nearby with the Fate Skull, so no real danger to him. Speaking of it, though, it's used in mid lane. There's the depth charge after the Phantomles goes away the other side. Because the Black Mist, I apologize, on the other side trying to do what they can. Gadget doing what he can as well at the back end of the fight. Facebreaker onto 2, as the rest of SK Prime just run away and leave their mid and bot laner, I suppose, for Gadget to die in the mid lane.
Yeah, Gadget was bro there, never leave a man behind, and he went back for his teammate, but fortunately, just outmatched that situation. You see the spears coming in, but I mean, the Mountain Soul literally just tanked that whole spear, and now Seal could be in trouble.
Oh, Diva just absolutely murders Seal's health bar. Will just about survive, but I think that means he's going to go back to base. And all the while, ArcaneTeddy was shoving in the top side, gets onto that inhibitor in mid lane, now under attack as well, and there's just nothing to be done for SK Prime to try and stop this right now.
Yeah, I mean, they'll do damage to the base. They will back away, not wanting to overstep, but such a substantial goal lead now, almost 10,000, soul in pocket, everything going in favor of them, and this could be it. We said it coming to the game, right, that they needed to be in a position where they can win this one so they don't leave the tournament winless, as that would be such a dire scenario, and I feel like they've done everything they needed this game. They've opted into the chaos, they've lent into the madness, and it looks like they're in a position to be rewarded, but they just need to finish it off. And if I'm SK Prime, I see the Elder in 2.5 minutes, and what I'm thinking is Smite Steal into a fight win. That's the comeback strategy for SK Prime.
I'm there with it. I think it's going to happen. I trust in the ability for SK Prime to make this even more of a fiesta than it was. Hope you're ready to party, everybody, because I think we're about to have
Paladin.
one final one. Gadget throws down the ghost. Phantomles on the other side, trying to find the wraparound gang, but Paladin does have the flash and gets out to safety. Now ArcaneTeddy stunned up in place, but he's so damn tanky. Throws down the World Ender, trying to heal his way out. Alois does get out of the Infernal Chains. And SK Prime's attempted flank once again doesn't pan out. Diva now on vision with the bushwhack in the bush, doing its best to spot out the LeBlanc. And instead, they will retreat towards his bot side where the final outer tower stands. Does now fall. And Ging's clone tanks up the spear.
Yeah, this is one of the problems, though. Not too much wave play on the side of SK Prime. You have to get melee range for it, which apparently isn't an issue for them because they just walk up and clear the wave. But they get a flash from Paladin, which is pretty big for the next fight. ArcaneTeddy might be in trouble, though.
Does have flash and does use it to go over the wall, but over goes Alois, who really wants this. He's got the level disadvantage with the haste bar advantage, and now the rest of Valiance will shove in. We've got a 1v1 in the picture while the fight in the base commences. Still going 1-for-1, and they just can't kill each other. There's so much healing, but the Mountain Soul doing what it can. Trying to trade this one up as they can, as Alois is finally starting to lose this when Infernal Chains land. And in the base, the Nexus turret's under siege. ArcaneTeddy wins that one. Diva hopping forward. Does not go in as far as he wants, so that way the clone survives. Stun onto Diva, who goes golden. Phantomles cannot secure the kill. Will not cull the meek, because it's just another pair of boots in LeBlanc's closet. Valiance will win their first game of Amazon European Masters, and what an utter banger it was.
Oh, what an absolute mad show up, and I think both teams opted into it, but we see them finally get that win on the board, which, you know, they're not going through to the next stage, but I feel like going away 1-5 instead of 0-6 is so huge, so important. So credit to them coming in, going for the Kalista Nautilus, going aggressive. This is not like a team who just opted into scaling and said, okay, let's hope this game goes to 50 minutes and we can win. They took it SK Prime and they were rewarded.
And, you know, for SK Prime, again, they didn't necessarily draft towards standard meta. They drafted towards comfort. They drafted towards style. And they opted into the fight, but that was a good hands check. And we saw a lot of good mechanical plays, even if it was obviously perhaps a little less clinical than other games we've seen at the Amazon European Masters. And I think we have to go back into one of those utter bloodbaths, and I'll leave you to attempt to explain what happened.
It just felt like they kept getting the edge, right? This Kalista became absolutely massive, but also, you know, despite the good setup we saw from SK Prime, we saw them constantly skirt around the edges, disengage, re-engage, and then just able to connect when the time is needed. But Paladin, in particular, had a really strong game, and honestly, he's had a good day altogether.
Yeah.
Earlier on, doing a lot of work on the Sivir.
He couldn't quite convert it in that game, but this time around certainly could. And after those early kills went over to him in lane, really helped run over the game alongside Diva's LeBlanc.
Gadget in his bush again.
I'm just going to name that bush the Gadget bush from now on. That's what it is for everybody. As he tried to make this flank work, but they just couldn't lock down anyone important. Paladin still free-firing, Diva still free-firing, ArcaneTeddy still at 3 HP, and Seal whatever stacks he had, because we never found out, wasn't enough to kill that kind of front line.
If not 1,000, maybe might have done it. Just not enough there, and it just felt like throughout this, the confidence. And sure, you know, SK Prime with their draft, you may say they're not taking this game as seriously as they are out, but it's just good to see that, you know, despite the fact that they went 0-5 initially, they're able to come in strong, they're able to find these angles into the fights and just have a pretty solid performance. I will say, though, Eckas on the Nidalee doing a kind of boatload of damage with that pick.
You can see why he picked the Nidalee. Of course, Nidalee not the strongest pick at the current meta, but certainly piloted very well. And for the side of Valiance, though, I think it is worthy to call out how they played, as you said, right? They did actually play with verve, with confidence, with their namesake, right? With that kind of courage and determination. And very valiant they were in that final game to claim themselves a win, as they will be leaving us here alongside SK Prime. And it probably means we have to start looking forward to the other end of the table. Heretics are about to play up against BDSA to determine whether we're getting a tiebreaker or whether it's another undefeated LFL team. We'll see you in a few moments. You definitely want to be here for this one.